Hello everyone and welcome to the Transit Nomad family. Scenic transit option in Kuala Lumpur, getting around KL vlog. Before we get started, whether you're currently in Asia, Europe, USA or anywhere else, if you haven't done much long-term or long-distance traveling lately, I'd like to challenge you to broaden your horizons and give it a try. When you visit new places, you might find yourself feeling happier and more fulfilled with new ideas, inspiration, and motivation to accomplish your life goals. And it's not just my personal opinion, it's confirmed by scientific research. In the worst case scenario, you'll just learn how to appreciate your home country more. Either way, it should be a win-win situation. And as an active traveler and business owner with experience, I might be able to assist you with trip planning, life coaching, and business consulting, with all the details available at buymeacoffee.com/transitnomad or through the link in the video description below. This is where you can also find lots of exclusive content on many different cities around the world, my secret tips, PDF guides, and the option to request a custom video on any topic that matters to you. With that being said, we are currently buying our fare for the monorail, which is the most scenic way to get around Kuala Lumpur. It's very easy to buy it using one of these machines. You just have to know the station of your arrival, where you're gonna get off the monorail, and it's going to calculate the fare. Let's begin it from the beginning because it took me a while to find my credit card, but if we were to start it all over again, as the machine resets, first we need to select the line, and this is the one we are looking at, the monorail line. The screen of this machine is not very bright, so I do apologize if you cannot see it very well. And then we select our destination stop, and then right here you can see that the fee is $2.50, and we choose the bank card, and then we just tap our card on the screen right here. That's it. And now this machine is going to give us a token that we can use to enter the system. This is the token right here. I believe most of these machines accept credit cards. They do not accept American Express. They accept only Visa and MasterCard. Keep that in mind. But they do accept credit cards. Although be prepared to have to pay in cash when it comes to using public transportation or shopping or paying for food at restaurants. Many places here in KL are cash only, and it's something you need to keep in mind for sure. Before you visit, make sure to exchange some money, or when you arrive, go to the currency exchange and get some cash because it's going to be helpful here in KL. So this looks like maybe the wrong entrance or something like that, because I see all the machines here, they are not functional, so I guess we need to go to the other side or something like that. This is the last stop of the monorail. It's called KL Sentral, and I believe this is the stop that makes the most sense to start your trip from, because this is where the line begins, and if you want to get the best experience of seeing the city in a scenic way as much as possible, you should ride the whole line from the beginning to the end. And also chances are you might arrive at this stop if you're traveling by train and you arrive in Kuala Lumpur by train. KL Sentral is the stop where a lot of trains arrive from different other cities in Malaysia. And also they have a direct connection between KL Sentral station and the airport as well. And this monorail line, it covers a lot of different popular sightseeing destinations, including Bukit Bintang and some other areas that are worth checking out when you are in town. So monorail is going to be probably your to-go-to transit option when you are visiting Kuala Lumpur. Now that we are on the platform, we just used our token, we tapped it on the machine and the gates opened, and it's very important not to lose this token, because at the end of your trip you need to put it back inside the machine, and that's how it's going to verify that you traveled to the correct stop and you paid the correct fare. The frequency on the monorail, depending on time, the average time is about every 10 minutes. I wish it could be a little bit better. Sometimes during peak hours it might be a little bit better. Sometimes it also might be a little bit worse. So it might take a little while to wait for the train, but hopefully it's not a big deal. Hopefully you're not in a rush when you're in Kuala Lumpur. The only thing that is a little bit sad is the fact that many of these stations, they are not air conditioned, and it is pretty hot here. Actually, it's so hot in KL that during daytime it's really difficult to do any kind of outdoor sightseeing because you do get tired from all the heat, and it's very exhausting. And if it's not hot, then it's raining, which also makes it less convenient and less enjoyable for exploring everything that the city has to offer. I believe when the train arrives, these are the doors that are going to open up. I already rode the monorail before, so I know which spot on the train is going to give us the ability to also film the views as we ride the train. So I'm hoping that I can get that spot so we can have a nice and enjoyable and scenic journey experience on the monorail. We did not see any trains leaving the station when we got in here, and right now we don't see any trains arriving. If you don't know that it's working, you might even start wondering, like, is there any train service here? Just because there are people waiting, sometimes it doesn't mean that it's gonna come. But people keep arriving, so hopefully it's gonna come. And if you want to get a seat, that is another thing you should keep in mind. You have to board at one of the major stops, or hopefully at the last stop, because it does get pretty busy in the middle of the route as it passes the central part of KL, the Bukit Bintang area. It's very busy. Sometimes it's really packed. So if you want to get a good spot for sightseeing, it's good to, if you want to get a good seat, especially you want to sit down, then you might want to start it from the beginning of the line or the end of the line, depending on which way you look at it. I do wish they had higher frequency, because I'm not a big fan of waiting for public transport. Even if I have my phone, yeah, I can do something. Still, I want to be productive and I want to be efficient. And I like cities that offer frequent public transport. A good example of that is Budapest. In Budapest, you hardly ever have to wait. Even if a frequency on a certain line is 5 to 10 minutes, because there are so many routes that go in the same direction, you often don't have to wait at all, especially if you're close to the city center. There are so many different ways to reach your destination. I have no idea what they said. Maybe they said there's a delay or something like that, because we started rolling almost 10 minutes ago and still no train, even though it says the frequency is every 10 minutes. And it needs time to let people out and let people in, and we don't even see it in the distance. So I'm not sure if that frequency is really accurate. But hopefully the views of the city skyline will make up for it. I'm a huge fan of riding public transportation that offers a scenic experience like this.
Ready for a smooth and stress-free journey? Tap the touching card. Just make sure your card balance is top up and you are ready to explore with Rapid KL.
In order to get here, I rode an LRT train, and most of the route was under the ground, and it was a little bit boring, to be honest, because there are no views despite the train being fully automated, and you could see the front and the back because there's no driver, so that area is open for you to enjoy. But because it was in the tunnel, there wasn't much to see until it came out of that tunnel. And also it's kind of interesting because they call it LRT, which supposedly stands for light rail transit, but in reality it's more similar to a traditional heavy rail metro or subway or MRT system. I believe they may have called it LRT because during the time when it was built, it was more common to use a different definition. Maybe if you know the answer to this, let me know in the comment section below. I'm just speculating. And while we are waiting for the train, I do want to tell you that I'm currently in East and Southeast Asia for a few months. And during this time, I'm recording lots of exclusive content, comparing many different cities in the region to help you decide which ones you should visit, while also saving you lots of time and money with practical tips on how to get the most out of your trip. For example, Singapore is one of the most expensive destinations in the world, but I know a way how you can save hundreds or maybe even thousands of dollars when visiting Singapore, and it's not something that others talk about on YouTube. So head over to buymeacoffee.com/transitnomad using the link below and donate any amount of your choice, no matter how big or how small, to get access to my most helpful exclusive content that covers Singapore, Kuala Lumpur, Bangkok, Hong Kong, and many other cities in Asia, Europe, and the United States. With that being said, it's been 12 minutes since we started recording, and the monorail train is still not visible at all, and it's not coming yet. Again, this is something you need to keep in mind, and also I'm glad that I'm capturing this on video live in real time, because this gives you a pretty good idea of the public transport experience here in Kuala Lumpur. It's not perfect, it needs a lot of work. As you can tell, it's not very punctual or reliable. If you need to get somewhere on time, this might not be the most reliable or efficient way of getting around, because as you can see, we've been waiting for more than 12 minutes now and the train is still not there, despite the stated frequency of 10 minutes, which is also not as good as it should be on a line like this. But okay, 10 minutes, fine, but no train every 10 minutes. It's not happening. Also, their pedestrian infrastructure has a lot of problems. It's not always easy to cross the street. Sometimes there are no sidewalks either. So if you like walking around, KL has some problems when it comes to this, although it offers decent experience in some neighborhoods. Other neighborhoods still need a lot of work when it comes to pedestrian infrastructure. You can see the monorail train finally making its way to the station. You can see the platform is crowded. People are excited to get on board. If you want to have the most scenic experience, I do recommend these seats that are right next to me. This one right over here, because this way you can face the window and you can see the city skyline. It's been almost 15 minutes since we started recording,
Stand clear.
and the train is finally departing. I hope you enjoy the ride.
Stasiun berikutnya, Tun Sambatan. Next station, Tun Sambatan.
Past the monorail depot or something like that. In the distance, those little orange vents, I believe that's what their school buses look like. Those are the little cute school buses.
Stand clear. Doors closing.
Stesen berikutnya, Maharaja Lela. Next station, Maharaja Lela.
Watercolor in this river looks really dirty, like it's brown. There in the distance you can see the world's second tallest building. It's called Mateka Tower, I believe. It's located close to Chinatown. It's still under construction, but parts of it have been open to the public already. The only thing that I feel is a little bit controversial is how they calculate the heights, because they include the stake on the top, and I think that stake on the top kind of it's a big portion of that length or that height, and if I were to calculate it on my own, I would not include the stake in that calculation because it's not really fair. That kind of logic, you can just make like a really short building, one-story building, and add a huge stake on top of it that is like a mile long and say this is the tallest building. It has to be like an actual building with room inside, not just a stick. In my opinion, again, this is just my personal opinion. We saw another monorail train passing by. These trains, they do have drivers, so I assume they might have to deal with some delays on the system. Some sections I also noticed that they are under construction or repair. Maybe this is what's causing some of the delays. We departed 15 minutes into the video, and that train, we met at that train 4.5 minutes after we departed. So if that train makes it to the last stop in the same amount of time, it's going to be able to follow this train within 10 minutes. But our train is a little bit behind. took a little bit of extra time for them to open the doors. That also happens sometimes. And sometimes I noticed we might stand at some stops
Stand
longer
clear.
than we should.
Doors closing.
In this case, we spent a good amount of time at the stop, like 15 seconds. I think that is enough.
Stesen berikutnya, Hang Tuah. Stesen pertukaran ke LRT laluan Ampang dan LRT laluan Seri Petaling. Next station, Hang Tuah. Interchange station to LRT Ampang Line and LRT Seri Petaling Line.
Kuala Lumpur is definitely a city of contrast because you can see a lot of really developed areas, but also you can see a lot of really poor areas, these buildings that are really old, not in a very good condition. It's poor infrastructure. So it's something to keep in mind. Also, I've seen a lot of trash on the side streets, rats, and again, as I mentioned earlier, sometimes no sidewalks or no pedestrian crossings, which makes it a little bit harder to enjoy exploring the city if you like walking around. It's good to take a seat after standing for so long. I've been filming a lot today, so it's definitely good to take a break from standing, especially in all the heat.
Stand clear. Doors closing.
Stesen berikutnya, Indi. Next station, Indi.
Stand clear. Doors closing.
Stesen berikutnya, Bukit Bintang, stesen sambungan ke MRT Laluan Kajang. Next station, Bukit Bintang, connecting station to MRT Kajang Line.
That is my stop. But if you are riding the monorail, you have time, make sure to ride the whole line. Hopefully once sitting and facing in one direction and then ride it all the way back facing in the opposite direction, because as you can tell, the city views are pretty impressive and it's definitely a scenic experience. Excuse me. Let's capture our monorail train leaving the station. And now I'm going to show you how to properly exit the system. Make sure you don't lose this token that I'm holding in my hand, because that is how you're able to exit the system. You put that token back inside the machine, which is how they calculate the distance and the fare and allow you to exit. This is where it goes. Looks like use card only, okay? Token over here. Okay, there you go. And then the gates open. And that is how we exit. What I was talking about when it comes to buildings that are falling apart and the infrastructure, this is the heart of the city center. And you can see this kind of stuff, and it doesn't look like it's being worked on. It's just something that is part of life here in Kuala Lumpur, this kind of stuff. And it gets even worse than this. If you walk around, explore different side streets, you're gonna see all kinds of things. Keep that in mind. It's a city of contrast, as I mentioned earlier. Also, the escalator is not working, so you have to walk down these steps if you have mobility issues. The infrastructure here is not the greatest, but if you don't have mobility issues and you want to have a budget-friendly vacation, this can be a great destination because it does have a lot to offer, many different landmarks and malls and parks and temples and many things to do and places to visit. One of these things is riding the monorail, which is what we just did. You can see this is the monorail track right here, and it looks pretty scenic even from here, as you can tell. And with that being said, I would like to remind you that I'm currently in East and Southeast Asia for a few months, and during this time I'm recording lots of exclusive content comparing many different cities in the region to help you decide which ones you should visit, while also saving you lots of time and money with practical tips on how to get the most out of your trip. For example, Singapore is one of the most expensive destinations in the world, but I know a way how you can save hundreds or maybe even thousands of dollars when visiting Singapore, and it's not something that many people talk about on YouTube or other online platforms. So head over to buymeacoffee.com/transitnomad using the link below and donate any amount of your choice, no matter how big or how small, in order to get access to my most helpful exclusive content that includes Kuala Lumpur, of course Singapore, Bangkok, Hong Kong, and many other cities in Asia, Europe, and the United States. Thank you everyone for watching, commenting, liking, and subscribing. I appreciate you being a part of the Transit Nomad family and look forward to seeing you in the next one. Bye-bye.